Newsflash is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fee.
We're grateful for your time this morning and spending some time with us here on Newsflash. It's proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, phones Papa Pafie. This morning, you want some cameras, CCTV cameras for your offices and your homes. Please do well and go to Franco Trading Enterprise. If you want a television set, we've got all the inches you need. Please walk into our offices, our branches, and you can pick some from there. Those of you who want some phones to celebrate your loved ones tomorrow, as Val's Day actually comes in all red, you definitely want to make sure that you're getting that phone, that Samsung, that iPhone or Nokia phone that you want to give to that special person. And you can also do well and get some refrigerators once you walk into any of our shops. Our branches were nationwide. Call the numbers you see on your screens, and once again, please do not call the numbers on social media. Pick any number over there and talk to us. Make sure that you're calling the numbers that you can see on your screens right now. You can also download the app. It's the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store. Our website is www.francotrading.com, and you're good to go. We're giving 40% discount on all accessories that you buy from us, and so you don't want to miss out on that also. Valentine is here. Let's make that special person feel special by giving the person Franco Trading Enterprise gadgets. Trust me, the person will love it because it's best of quality, and that's what you need. And this morning, we're grateful to them. They are helping us have this conversation here on Newsflash. And so please do well. Send your messages. We're streaming live on Facebook, and you can also join us on X. And also, you can send your messages on our WhatsApp line. It's active right now, so just go there and drop your messages. See, today, here on Newsflash, we're looking at two major issues. Yesterday, we had two press conferences. Now, the attention will be on the one which the OSP put together, and Mr. Kisieja Bing actually spoke about a lot of things, some corruption allegations and investigations that have gone on over a period. And today we're looking at the former finance minister who's been declared wanted by the OSP, and also we're hoping that we'll touch on the issue of the NSS ghost names. So over 81,000 names have come up, and we won't be looking at that conversation also here on the show. You can send your messages and let us know what you think of any of those issues. Yesterday, the President's His Excellency John Dramani Mahama also made some significant changes in the celebration of our Independence Day this year. If we have time, we'll try and see if we can touch on that as well. But don't forget that you will not be having the Independence Day at the Black Star Square where you normally would have it. This time around, it's moving straight to the presidency. I'll give you some more update on that as we progress here on the show. But let me welcome my guest in the studio. We'll take a look at the front page of the newspapers that have been here this morning, and then we'll move into our major conversation. And well, sitting very next to me is Mr. Osei Kwame Griffiths. Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Doing very well.
You had a good night's sleep?
Yes.
Great.
Very good.
Any special reason why?
Oh, very excited about coming to Joy Pride in the morning.
Then I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there.
Also, see all the beautiful people here, you know, it's always
very
exciting.
Very necessary, you know. Also joining us this morning is Honorable Matthew Nyindam. Very good morning to you, sir. He's former Majority Chief Whip and also MP for Kpandai. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. It's a good morning to you.
Good morning. You had a good sleep as well?
Well, yes. If you are up, you have to be thanking God. So since we are up,
it's the most important thing.
The more important
the rest, God will take care of it.
Exactly.
And of course, we have here lawyer Kwame Jantua also here with us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I do. I'm breathing, so I'm happy. If I don't breathe, then that's the problem. But, you know, good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow brothers here. I want the Minister for Greater Accra. She's indicated that within 100 days.
50.
She said 100.
Okay. Let me let you land.
The days for the cleanup or which one?
No.
The lighting.
The lighting.
Okay.
Days.
Well, she says that I had 100.
Okay.
She should give us a timetable as to where she's going to start from.
And end.
And where we should start looking at. You just can't come and put it out there that 100 days you're going to light up Accra. Because from my house all the way here,
No street light.
no street lights, potholes on the road. It's dangerous. So she should help us, tell us, okay, my brother said 50. In 50 days, I'm going to start from Ring Road. From Ring Road, I'm going to Abosokai. From Abosokai, I'm going here, so that at least we can follow. Today, in our politics today, Ghanaians are watching. Ghanaians are expecting you to tell them exactly what is happening. It will help Yenyina.
Very necessary.
Yes, very necessary.
Especially as for...
You see, and the dangerous thing is that as you're on your side, the cars coming from this side, the lights are reflecting in your eye. Especially because they can't see, they switched on highlights. It reflects in your eye, and it's dangerous. So we beg.
We ran a campaign here for a couple of months.
Yes, I remember.
I would have seen some results, but...
in the last administration.
Yeah. You know, so maybe we'll take it up again this year.
It's important.
And see if we'll be able to make some...
She has promised. Unfortunately, she wasn't vetted. So we couldn't ask her those questions. Unfortunately.
She was.
She wasn't vetted.
She was not asked as many questions as we expected.
She wasn't vetted. She wasn't vetted.
So you don't count that as vetted?
When we came the following day, were you able to talk about what she said?
No, because really...
She wasn't vetted.
She was vetted.
She went to vetting. I wasn't vetted. They're two separate things.
Maybe
she attended the vetting.
You didn't get what you wanted.
No,
not that she wasn't vetted. She was vetted. Per record. There's no way she would have been approved.
She went to
without being vetted.
She went to the vetting. She was there present, sitting. Nobody can say she didn't go. She was sitting there, ready to talk. Was she asked questions? They asked her name, didn't they? After asking her name, what did they ask her?
They didn't ask her about herself.
And after that, what?
So you can't say that she wasn't vetted.
Maybe it wasn't. You could say probably wasn't adequate for you.
Are you saying...
Maybe what you were looking for,
yes,
you didn't get it. Like the way others were created, you didn't see her going through that.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that she wasn't vetted.
Okay.
Because records are very important.
To you, she was vetted. To me, she wasn't vetted. Let's
to the
make
public,
it like,
not about you.
I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Those who are watching who feel that what I'm saying, they agree with me. Fine. If they don't agree with me, fine.
Okay.
But this is Mimi Hauni, and I'm saying it. She wasn't vetted.
Very well. Let me go through the front pages of the newspapers real quick and then we'll move on. This one says, former finance minister wanted, ex-NPA boss, 8 others under investigations. Portia prosecutor. This Daily Graphic. Daily Graphic is reporting on the issue of yesterday. Another one of the says President orders probe into NSA ghost names scandal, and Jubilee House to host the 68th independence anniversary. AG banks dropping cases for political reasons, and IFC deepening partnership with the LMI Holdings to expand clean energy to industrial zones in Ghana. That's Daily Graphic. This one, the back page reports suspected cases of meningitis early to hospital. Health Minister says so. Change must reflect an approach to work. Dr. Ali to GMA staff. Now, away from that, let's move on to the Ghanaian Times, and it says OSP declares Ken Ofori-Atta wanted, takes legal steps to secure his return, and the government cancels Grand Independence celebration to save costs. It has Mr. Felix Ofosu-Kwakye captured over there. President on working visits to Germany and Ethiopia, and maintain momentum on fiscal reforms to build resilient economy. World Bank says so. That's the Ghanaian Times this morning. The New Republic is here, and it says that Run Ken Run. OSP draws dagger after former finance minister and Baumia Subtel boys pocket 400 million Ghana cedis booty. OSP chases MPA chiefs in 1.3 billion scandal. Jacob Amua and 2 others on the radar. And Mr. Mustafa Hamid has actually come out to also release a statement to that effect, and he says that he's ready to avail himself for any investigation. But as it sits right now with him, there's not been any official communication to that effect. But when invited, he'll be there to answer to the OSP. Coming up, also some other stories. NPA, GRA, and 9OM sees cartel hot over marine gas smuggling scandal. That's also the New Republic. And then the last one we have here is the overseer, and it says Finance Minister to present 2025 budget on March 10. Mahama orders probe International Service Authority ghost name scandal, and Mahama appoints Edmund Combat as Deputy MD for TOR. Ken Ofori-Atta declared wanted by OSP in corruption investigations. That's the Observer. Haruna Idrisu directs inclusion of ethics and patriotism in preschool curriculum. And Hollister Dia Yentumi finally hands over to James Ejenim Boateng as SIC MD. You remember that issue with the SIC former MD who wanted to go to court. Looks like things have been settled, and she's officially handed over to James Ejenim Boateng. All right, so that will be the front pages of the newspapers this morning. You can send your messages to us on our WhatsApp line and let us know what you think about it. So yesterday, there was a very serious press conference, if you want to put it that way, because a press conference that ended up declaring the former minister a wanted man, a wanted fugitive. Indeed, it will be one that will be the talk throughout the week. We want you to take a look at some of the things he said with regards to the former finance minister, and then when we come back, my guests are already seated.
Declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. This person is wanted by the OSP to answer charges in respect of several cases, including the following. 1. Contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the stated objective of the enhancement of revenue assurance in the downstream petroleum sector, upstream petroleum production, and minerals and metals resources value chain. 2. Termination of a distribution, loss reduction, and associated network improvement project contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Beijing Xiaochen Technology BXC. 3. Procurement of contractors and materials and activities and payments in respect of the National Cathedral project. 4. Activities and payments in respect of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Health, initially commenced by the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchases and after-sales service and maintenance of 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances for the National Ambulance Service. And 5. Payments out of and utilization of the tax refund account of Ghana Revenue Authority. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Ofori-Atta. Mr. Ofori-Atta is 66 years old. He was the Minister of Finance of the Republic between 2017 and 2024. Mr. Ofori-Atta left the jurisdiction on or around 2 January 2025. On 24 January 2025, the OSP communicated to Mr. Ofori-Atta that the OSP considered him a suspect in respect of 4 of the cases described above. Mr. Ofori-Atta was directed to attend in person the OSP on Monday, 10 February 2025 at 10 GMT for interview. By communication dated 31 January 2025, Mr. Ofori-Atta instructed his lawyers to inform the OSP that he was out of the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds, and that the firm will notify the OSP of his arrival in the country in aid of rescheduling his personal attendance at the OSP. Further, the firm offered its willingness to provide the OSP with any information the OSP may require to aid in the investigation until his arrival in the country. Then on 5 February 2025, the OSP responded to Mr. Ofori-Atta, copied to his lawyers, that the OSP did not need or require notification from his lawyers of his arrival in the jurisdiction. The OSP acknowledged Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyer's gracious offer to provide the OSP with information in aid of the investigation. However, and this is important, the OSP insisted that Mr. Ofori-Atta's personal attendance at the OSP was required. After all, the lawyers are not under investigation. I don't need lawyers to answer questions on your behalf when you are being investigated. The OSP declined Mr. Ofori-Atta's request to be away from the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds on his say-so. Consequently, the OSP directed Mr. Ofori-Atta to indicate by close of business on Monday, 10 February 2025, a reasonable date of his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP. The OSP warned Mr. Ofori-Atta that if he failed so to do, the OSP would take all necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP at our own choosing. I signed a directive declaring a high profile.
All right, so that's some of the statements that were made by the OSP yesterday. Now, ending that whole presentation, he actually said that he's giving the former finance minister two options. Is either he turns himself in or the OSP is going to use all the laws available to ensure that they bring him to Ghana. So as it stands right now, the former finance minister is not in the country at the moment on the issue of health. And, we're hoping that, I don't know, he probably would let the lawyers respond to this. But whatever it is, let's see how we can digest that in our conversation here in studio. Honorable Matthew, maybe I want to start with you. How did you feel watching this presentation yesterday? That is, if you did watch yesterday or seen it now.
Well, let me say good morning once again to my uncles.
Good morning.
To you yourself and then the people of Kpandai. Very grateful for the opportunity this morning. I think that yesterday I actually didn't watch him, but I was in Parliament.
Okay.
And we came out with a statement on the floor of Parliament. And let me put on record that as a very responsible minority group in Parliament, we will not want to position ourselves to suggest to anybody in this country that we will want to protect appointees, formal appointees, from accountability. No, we will not want to do that. Whoever has to account will definitely have to account. But we also think that we will also wish to advocate that due process must also be followed. In as much as we want people to account, we should not take their rights for granted. I listened to some excerpts of this particular OSP issue. And one thing I want to learn from my uncles, I'm very lucky. I know him to be a lawyer, and I'm sure his case I'm not too sure about.
I'm an engineer.
Okay. So if the OSP says that he's had some kind of engagement with Ken Ofori-Atta, and it means responses to him that the man says he's out of this country on medical grounds.
Yeah.
So I can establish that by saying that the OSP knows where Ken Ofori-Atta is. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So if there've been that communication, he's told him, I am not well. I'm out of this jurisdiction on medical grounds. Does the OSP has the right to declare him wanted? Maybe in his submission issue, put me through. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
a burden on
how when do we say
At
somebody,
what point do we say
somebody is wanted?
is wanted?
When you jump bail in this country, courts can't declare you wanted. Or if you jump arrest, let me put it that way.
Commit a certain crime and you are not
exactly
anywhere to be found.
You are nowhere to be found.
Declared
The
wanted.
court can declare you wanted. So in this case, is Ken Ofori-Atta really find himself in that category? I think it is no. I want to move forward. OSP, does he really need Ken Ofori-Atta to prepare Ken Ofori-Atta's docket to the court for prosecution to begin? Does he really need him physically? If he is not appearing, does it stop him from proceeding to prepare his dockets, proceed to court, and get the issue trial Does it stop him from doing that?
Maybe the first step is to have them come so they can engage.
So the person tells you,
exactly,
I am not well. I'm out of the jurisdiction. The lawyers offered to assist. Obviously, I agree with OSP by saying that his lawyers are not under trial. And for that matter, maybe some kind of information they need, they will not be able to provide. So the man is not available. You want the man prosecuted. Does the law stop you from proceeding without the man's input into whatever you want to prepare? We think that nothing stops him from going ahead. We think so. Then, chronological events, are you getting me? Or the chronology of events. We also realize that the military and some police also went to his house. Okay? From the OSP, we are told that he doesn't know anything about it.
He said it was staged in his
own words. It was staged in his own words. It was staged.
Because the OSP does not send police and military people to go.
It was staged. So are we also saying that there is another body that is also trying somewhere to investigate Ken Ofori-Atta besides the OSP? Who staged it? And are we saying that the whole government doesn't have the capacity as at now to tell us those who staged that kind of thing? And why is it a coincidence? The raiding of Ken Ofori-Atta's house happened. The following day, OSP also came out with this press conference declaring this man wanted. So we think that all appointees who the law has to deal with must deal with them. We will never, as a responsible minority, like I said, stand on the ways of the law. And wouldn't want people to think that we want to protect former appointees. We wouldn't think that way. But we also think that the due process must take place. I've listened to OSP. I think that if I were him, I will proceed. Because an opportunity has been given to Ken Ofori-Atta to come and maybe respond to one or two queries. If he's not coming, I don't see anything wrong proceeding to court and legally setting your trial on. But for the media engagement here and there, obviously people will be speaking. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
But trials are not done in the media. And for the court of public opinion, it may be very strong. But the public opinion is different from the law courts. And I think that each and every one who led this country, if found out that you've mishandled your office or you've used your office inappropriately, the law must deal with you. That we support. But we also think that we should do it with the due process. That's the little.
Do you think the minority, or in your capacity as a member of parliament, you think that the OSP is on some personal vendetta when it comes to this issue, especially?
Well, I don't know. I don't even know the OSP. I don't know his relationship with Ken Ofori-Atta. I get what I'm saying. Yes, we can also boldly say that he was appointed under the same Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government. This particular OSP we are talking about today, it is an instrument brought by Nana Akufo-Addo to fight corruption
and corruption-related cases.
And corruption-related matters. So we are all out there to see how we can better Ghana. We see how we can protect the public purse. But as to whether he's doing that on like what word
personal vendetta.
A personal vendetta or something. I don't think so. And I don't know. I don't see why he should also do that, because the question was asked of him. And he clearly said no, he wasn't doing that because he thinks that he's doing his job. Are you getting what I'm saying? Which I think so. That is obviously his.
And the minority stays in the same position?
We are with him. But we think that as a country, somebody will come to justify that this was done yesterday, this was done. But we think that, look, we said we are resetting this country. Resetting means doing different things. Is that not the case? That we inure to the benefit
of the people of the country.
The people of this country. So we should not repeat the past. And I don't even think that in the past, a military group was sent to go to somebody's house to ransack the person's house, knowing very well that the person is out of the jurisdiction. But I'm not holding OSP for this because he has come out to say he doesn't know anything about it. But I think that as a nation, in as much as we want to try formal appointees or whoever misappropriated some kind of funds, allegedly, we should do it with the law and make sure that the due process is followed.
Okay, I'll come to you, Mr. Osei Kwame. I think The lawyer will take the last.
Well, first of all,
Are you going to hire me to do this?
No, but the Honorable has already started.
No,
so
it's one
I'm
of the
going to
reasons.
exactly. I'm going to continue from where Honorable left.
It's one of the reasons he's here.
Not the
Exactly.
reason I'm here representing my party.
Free counsel this morning.
I'll bring my bill.
well, first of all, good morning to your viewers. I like to commend the OSP for, this bold initiative to take on people who just a few months ago we thought were probably one of the most powerful within the country. And it is my hope that it would continue to do so, not just to appointees of the former administration, but all appointees, appointees of the current administration, should he see anything that he thinks is not appropriate. I am very confident that under the leadership of President Mahama, he is very committed to ensuring that we don't have some of these occurrences in there. However, I think the declaration of Ken Ofori-Atta as a fugitive probably was not within his power to do so, in my opinion. And I think so because it is in the hands of if you, as an investigator, if you look at his act, which is Act 959, of course, it gives him the power to investigate and prosecute corruption and corruption-related offenses in the country. However, if you are looking for somebody and he doesn't show up, you have to then go for a court order. I'm not a lawyer, but the little that from experience, you go for a court order and, to compel the person to appear at that point. Then within the legal framework, the person can be declared as such. Not necessarily because you have engaged his lawyers and he has said that, he's out of the jurisdiction. However, listening to the special prosecutor too, he said he was out of the jurisdiction for an indefinite amount of time, which means that he himself could not even put some form of time frame on the time that he expects.
It can appear before the...
So I think that's also problematic. Let me say that it does not justify the OSP unilaterally declaring him a fugitive. But we should all be concerned that it may appear as if, he's staying out of the jurisdiction for a reason other than just him saying he's not.
Grounds.
Yes. So that is problematic. If you go down into the specific cases for which he's been wanted to come, report to the OSP, I think the former administration actually called for an audit in the case of a contract between GRA and SML, that's the name of the company.
Yeah.
And the audit report, which I have a copy here, came out with some very damning issues, to the extent that it was a single source contract and there was no approval from PPA. A single source contract, you need prior approval from PPA to go on a single source, and you provide your reasons under the Act, I think Section 40 of the PPA Act. You give your reasons, it's for national security reasons or what have you. Dealing with systems within GRA probably could have gone under national security reasons. And for that, and it wasn't even budgeted for. So there was no permission from Parliament to spend any money on such systems, right from 2018, 2019, and what have you. So then again, they said instead of using the dipsticks to measure the fuels and what have you, they were going to install sensors, which they weren't able to install all the sensors. So there was performance issue too. Yes, these people were religiously paid, for some work that they had not been able to do. And this report came out not under the new administration, but under the former administration. And so many other issues that, when you look at the other cases, the case with is it China, something, Beijing? I don't want to mention that.
The Beijing, yeah.
The Beijing.
The cathedral.
And then the cathedral issue.
Well.
And then the cathedral
issue too as well.
With the Chinese one, I think it's looking like something that should not have been abrogated, that was abrogated, which has consequences on the nation. So I think that it is in the right direction that we have an appointee, and I'm exceptionally excited because we have an appointee who is from, appointed by the previous, president, yet had that bold, to come after, not just appointees, but very powerful appointees from our. So I think he should be commended and given all the supports that he needs. And I pray that he maintains this willingness to do what is right for the nation and till the end.
Okay. Well, let me move on to Lawyer Jantua. Lawyer.
Where do I start from?
So maybe we should...
So let me start from the communication.
By the OSP?
By the OSP.
Okay.
The OSP indicated that there had been communication between him and Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, what I'm not sure about is whether that communication was a direct communication between the two of them, or it was a communication between his lawyers and them. From what I heard, it looked as if it was a communication between his lawyers and them. When he then said that, when they then offered to do what? To stand in and answer any questions that they needed to ask Ken Ofori-Atta. And that was where he indicated in the press conference that it wasn't the lawyers they wanted to speak to. They wanted to speak to Ken Ofori-Atta himself. Now, the basis for why he does not believe Ken Ofori-Atta is not unwell is based on a letter he said was sent. Now, I'm not sure. I have a letter here. I'm not sure whether it is the said letter, but it states a clinic in America called Mayo Clinic with the address and everything on there. And what the OSP said was that the letter that was sent was generic. And based on that generic letter, they didn't believe that he was in hospital or it was imminent for him to have this operation that was talked about. Now, the letter, when you read it, indicates to whom it may concern. And it says, and I read, it says, "Hello, dear Sir Madam, Mr. Kenneth Ofori-Atta has been seen and evaluated at Mayo Clinic in Rochester. His medical condition necessitates that he will stay and follow up on his appointments and undergoing further testing and management, including possible surgical intervention in March of 2025. Please contact me with any further questions. Sincerely, Ahmed Abdalam, MD, Section of International Medicine in Rochester, Minnesota, 200 First SW, Rochester, and it has the details there. First point of call, where is Ken? Is he in Rochester? Is he in Minnesota? First point of call. If I were in his shoes, no matter the situation I find myself in, what will I do? I will come. Let them put me in a wheelchair down here with my doctors and everybody. Let them come down. Let everybody see that what he sent the letter, saying the letter, is true. Because you see, it doesn't bode well for the court of public opinion to have a different perspective of what is going on. If what Ken has brought is true, then it is true. Let's for it.
Regardless of how difficult it will be for him to move because of his condition?
Show something. Look, I was expecting that the OSP would have said, I've had one-to-one communication with Ken Ofori-Atta on phone. I was expecting for him to say that. It looks as if that hasn't happened. And if it hasn't happened, it should happen. If it hasn't happened, I feel Ken Ofori-Atta, if for nothing at all, should have a Zoom interaction with the OSP. I'm not saying they should question him via Zoom. I'm just saying he should have a Zoom interaction with him.
He can have a fair idea of his condition.
He can have a fair idea of his condition. Look, in law, your demeanor can prove you guilty. Your demeanor alone can prove you guilty. So if I'm sitting with you and I'm questioning you as a lawyer, and your demeanor shows that some of the things you're saying is not right, I can push you further and say, oh boy, when I look at the way you're talking, what you're saying is wrong. It doesn't seem to be true. So maybe the OSP wants that kind of atmosphere for him to be able to judge whether what Ken Ofori-Atta would say is right or wrong. But anyway, Ken would be with his lawyers, wouldn't he, when he comes down? The charges that we're talking about, they are grave charges. If it were me, wherever I am, in my hospital bed, wherever, I will try my possible best to avail myself in any way. I would even plead with the OSP that where I am now, I cannot do as, please, let's have a Zoom meeting. Zoom meetings are legal, aren't they? We have them all the time. The presidents have them all the time. I remember a Zoom meeting between President Bush and, President Putin. It was Zoom. We all saw it. So that can be offered. I would want Ken to show, because look, when you look at the...
You can push you have a normal.
When you look at the law...
Yeah.
For causing financial loss,
Yeah.
The burden of proof is on the special prosecutor. The burden of proof is not with Ken. And for the special prosecutor to outline his case, he needs to be able to at least question the suspect. In any case, if somebody comes to your house and steals your stuff and you go and report to the police, do they not interview you?
Yeah.
Are you not asked to write a statement? Because all that is part and parcel of the evidence that, if it goes to court, would have to be showed. Now, when you look at the causing financial loss, there's one word in there that states willful. Willfully causing financial loss to the state. What does willful mean? Means intent. The person have intent. The person have the knowledge. Was it a voluntary act? That there was nothing there to show that probably certain situations did not allow him to be able to do certain things, but that intent was there to cause willful financial loss to the state. It's up to the OSP to prove that. Now, when you look at tax evasion, if people evade tax, don't they willfully evade the tax? They are not paying. That's willful. When they, and looking at the fact that you call somebody a fugitive, there are various situations where you can call somebody a fugitive. And one of them is fleeing the jurisdiction. Fleeing the jurisdiction.
So the OSP was right in describing him as such?
Yes.
Under the circumstance.
Missing a court date.
Took him to where he is
missing
right
a
now.
court date, you can be declared a fugitive. Ignoring a summons, you can be called a fugitive. And then fleeing the jurisdiction. So it wasn't his right to call him a fugitive. Yes, it
comes across as a strong word.
Exactly.
He signed a letter that declared him a fugitive.
It comes across.
So he just didn't call him.
He signed
a letter that declared.
Yes, it comes across as challenging and difficult, but what he's being accused of is grave. Is grave. If it were me, by now I'd be thrown in the sinker. If it were you,
how?
How? If for nothing at all, I would have to sit and go through everything with a special prosecutor to defend myself.
Before the court of jurisdiction will put you in. You cannot just say,
wait. When I say thrown in the sinker, I don't mean thrown in jail. That's not what I mean by thrown in the sinker.
You'd have been asked to come for questioning.
Yes, exactly.
Just like we're seeing right now.
Yes.
Yours would have been quicker than what we're seeing.
Because right I'm here. I'm here. I think, my particular worry is the court of public opinion. That's where my worry is. Because the moment the court of public opinion takes a certain stand, sometimes when the truth is being told, the court of public opinion says, "Enyampa, are your friends or buy wama."
But legally, does it add anything or take anything?
It doesn't add anything. But the
court
of public opinion has a huge impact on things in terms of belief or non-belief. We've seen it happen so many times that when the case now gets to court, the court of public opinion has already made their mind up and they say, they are just playing to the gallery. It is not right.
But that couldn't affect the judgment.
Well, it won't affect the judgment, but the judgment, if the judgment now goes in favor of Ken, people will talk. So for me to clear that, come. To clear that, come. I mean, Ken Ofori-Atta has been out of the country since, according to the OSP, 2nd January. Yeah. We are in February. If for nothing at all the others, let's put that aside and look at the National Cathedral. Look at the situation with the National Cathedral. Can Ghanaians say there's a National Cathedral there? Can Ghanaians say there's a pillar to show that there are the startings of a National Cathedral? Was money spent? Yes. How much money was spent? From what we hear, $58 million. Yeah. Should that be, should people be questioned about that? Has it caused financial loss to the state when you haven't physically seen the intention that money was meant for? Have we seen it? We haven't. So even let's put the others aside and take the National Cathedral alone. Shouldn't we ask questions? Unfortunately, the president is immune. You can't question the former president. Yeah. Otherwise, he would have been the first person we would question. But we can't. So the next person who then gave the money out
was in charge
of explaining
the disbursement of those money.
Exactly. Yeah. He has to explain how that money was used. We cannot, at this moment, impute corruption because we don't know how the money was used. And that is why the OSP, from what I understand, is calling him to come and explain. This is what we are accusing you of. Explain to us how the 58 million was used. In that explanation, if it is then found that there are corrupt practices, there was malice aforethought in terms of the intent, there was an actus rea where the act used the money in a mismanaged way, then it goes to court. Then the burden of proof is on who?
The OSP?
The OSP to prove that he's guilty. I don't think we should try and make a song and dance out of it. Oh, former Minister of Finance said that. It's neither here nor there. The wrong has been done. We need to get to the bottom of the truth. It could even happen that all the 5 things he's been accused of, not all would apply because of circumstances that had led to some of these things. Out. Exactly. So, we cannot point a finger. What we're looking for is for him to come and answer questions by the OSP. Then we take it from there. Okay.
Before we move on, maybe I get some few messages from our viewers. And this one is to you again, lawyer. Now, where we are at the moment is how to get him. Now, the OSP gave 2 options. Is either he comes himself or the law will enforce him to come. Can you let us understand how possible, even under his circumstances, the law can still bring him here to Ghana to answer to those questions that they want?
Do you know his circumstances? You're talking about his circumstances based on the letter he said.
Exactly, medical grounds.
Okay. Of course. There's Interpol, isn't there? Interpol have a connection with the Ghana police here. I think they even have a setup at the headquarters, Ghana police headquarters here.
So the OSP can use that and say that, you know, whether he's sick or not, we want him here in Ghana, so bring him to Ghana.
Well, if that is the case, those who would now go and bring him, if they go and he's lying in a hospital bed, ready
to make an assessment
ready to go in for surgery, they'll be able to assess and come back to the OSP and tell the OSP it is not possible for that gentleman to be brought here because of his medical condition. He can do that. But if Ken is yet to go in for surgery, we don't know the date. I would have loved, okay, he said March. March is next month. If he can travel quickly, he should come. Let's get over this particular first stage of answering questions. Then they can give him a time and say to him, okay, you have to go for this operation, recovery and all that. So we will do what we have to do. If there's a docket that needs to go to court, we'll prepare that docket for when you get better. And then we take the case on. For me, it's simple. For me, it shouldn't be anything that now becomes a battle. A struggle and a battle. Shouldn't be. If Ken is innocent of all these and nobody can point a finger, yes, he should come. The OSP said, I want you. I don't want your lawyers. It's you we are looking for. Let him come. I hope it doesn't get to that stage where he will be forced to come. I hope it won't.
I think that's where it's headed right now.
I hope it won't
with the
get
last
to that
person
stage.
of the
I would suggest to the OSP, try your possible best
and engage.
To engage. If it even so happens, and some might not agree with me, but if it even so happens that some of your people can travel to America to sit with him, let's do it. Because what are we looking for? We are looking for the truth. Let's do it.
Very well. I'll come back and then maybe we'll have our last... Honorable, I'm sure you have a few things that you want to say. So let me take a few messages from our viewers and then I'll come back for us to wrap up on that conversation. Then we'll move on to the other issues. Earlier, I was telling you that we're now going to be having the independence celebration at the Jubilee House instead of... it's one of the things that a lot of people are also having conversations around. Maybe we'll use that as maybe our wrapping up comment and see if it's the right direction that we're headed. But this one says, greetings KMJ. It's Mr. Jantua saying that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has caused financial loss to the state. Was he not the same person who said Ghanaians are hungry so the project must be put on hold? He should stop the kind of politics he always does and speak as a senior citizen. Ken Ofori-Atta will be exonerated.
What have I said?
So
I've never said he's what do you call it? I've never said
it's caused financial loss to the state.
I've never said that.
No, so I think that it's the issue of the cathedral. You know, most of you have said that Ghanaians are hungry and all of that. But you, as for whether you have said that it's caused financial loss to the state, I'm not sure you have.
I haven't said that.
Yeah.
I've said...
So I think he's making reference to the cathedral where you said that we're hungry and they put in cathedrals, you know, when the monies are supposed to be given to the people. But the financial laws, I'm not sure. But the cathedral, everybody has spoken about it on this platform.
I don't understand what he's getting at. So you should come back again.
We didn't
come back again.
Yes. So let me move on to the next one. This one says, good morning, Mr. Host. I think it's repeated. So we're living with criminals and robbers for the past 8 years, and we didn't know they were using that Bola-free SHS to deceive us, that they mean well for us, not knowing they were rather slapping us front and back. Never should this family come close to the presidency of this country. Again, it's a shame, and we have now seen why people who already saw the that were complaining from and okay, so that's from Jake.
KJ, you see what I was saying?
Yeah.
Source of public opinion.
Yeah.
You see?
And it's strong, even it's more stronger more stronger than this. But my issue is, does that affect the legal proceedings?
It doesn't affect, but it puts a certain perception in the minds of people. Look at what is being said.
Yeah, it's even way stronger than this. Some of the words that as of yesterday
we don't know whether he's guilty or not.
Osemo Sudia Akwanta says, good morning, KMJ. Kind regards to your panel. The special prosecutor, in his attempt to wake up from his Ankwanoma state, must be careful not to play to the net of partisan politics and public gallery. If the axe is to fall, it must fall by natural gravity, not pushed. It should be guided by the discontinuation of court cases by the current AG, on the explanations by the AG for the cancellation of the court cases involving President Mohammed's former appointees is well received, but some bad precedent is being set for the political parties in Ghana. The courts should have been allowed to clear them and not the prosecutor. The optics is as significant as the substance we are watching. All right, so that was another serious press conference that happened yesterday. But don't forget that by law, the AG is not actually under any obligation to come out and explain himself.
To anybody.
Yeah, so what he did yesterday was something that it's very different from what the normal case should have been anyway. So yes, and some have patted him for that, but I don't know if it's...
They've patted who?
The back of the OSP, the AG for coming out to explain, because
so he's done well.
It shouldn't be the case. Anyway, Stephen Opoku writes and he says, good morning, KMJ. I think the OSP and Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta must see this issue as national interest. The position and posture does not and will not help the issue. They should take out pain and politics respectively. Let be cautious and follow due process. It is too early to suggest Ofori-Atta is refusing to attend to the OSP when it's not in doubt that he's out of the jurisdiction and is receiving medical attention. The OSP is right. Ofori-Atta must come and himself and answer questions. All right, let me go to this one. It says, good morning, Kenya. I'm from Awudu Idrisu at the AG. It says, as well as Ghanaians support prosecution of all government appointees and public office holders who involve themselves in corruption and corruption-related cases, the OSP should be guided by the law and procedures, especially on the right of innocent people. Now, on behalf of voiceless Ghanaians, I condemn the Rambo style the NDC government wants to use through the military in attacking the houses, as done to Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. The government should come out clear on who was those ransacked. Who those who ransacked Ofori-Atta's house were, after knowing he is out of Ghana. Greetings to Honorable Mohammed Haruna Era, immediate past MCE. Okay.
But the OSP said they have an idea who raided that.
Yes, but he's not ready to actually speak on that.
But he said they have an idea.
But so why was it staged then, if you have an idea?
I don't know.
And they allowed them?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, good morning to you and your panel members. The OSP call on Ken Ofori-Atta is nothing but sensationalism. Ken Ofori-Atta wrote to the former chief of staff from Opare on 2nd December concerning his travel to USA for medical treatment. Ken Ofori-Atta again wrote to the current chief of staff, Julius Debra, on 25th January about his whereabouts and attached a letter from the said hospital in the USA where he's receiving treatment. These facts were made clear on the floor of Parliament yesterday by the Minority Leader, Afinyo Markins. How on earth, Honorable Matthew, can you corroborate that?
Well, leader had the opportunity to speak, but unfortunately, where I was, I couldn't hear much of the things that he said.
Okay.
But he addressed
some of these things.
Yes. Before the majority leader also came in, I was actually in the house.
I'll have a listen to that recording, and I'll see what is there. How on earth can any reasonable person come to a conclusion such as person is running away from whatever? Ken Ofori-Atta, upon receiving, you seem to have a lot of information. Ken Ofori-Atta, upon receiving the OSP letter reply through his lawyers, they made it clear to the OSP Ken whereabouts and are ready to answer every question. If you're not satisfied with their reply, simply write back to them to explain why you need the man in person to answer to your questions. You declare a man who is in constant touch with authorities as wanted. On what basis? Again, what was the basis of that unwarranted raid of Ken Ofori-Atta's home? Till today, nobody is owing up to the raid of Ken's home, including the OSP, who wants the man at all costs. Ghana is not a banana republic. There are laws in this country. If anyone has done anything wrong, let the laws work, not that Takashi way. K. Frimpong sent in that. Good morning, Mr. Host. It's unfortunate that the NDC is pretending as if no corruption scandals have been befalling them before. If we may recall back, the amount that went to Oyome during His Excellency at the Mills time was 3 times more than that of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. But it looks like NDC have not experienced such corruption scandals before. They should let those who received the double salaries refund their difference. Eyes are watching them. President Mahama and his government, 4 years is just around the corner from Mr. Amofa of Adanse Akrofo. This one over here says that, good morning. I'm deeply saddened as a citizen to hear the OSP use a word like fugitive to describe the former finance minister who had numerous engagements with the international community. The man has not even been heard. If the OSP feels he loves Ghana that much, then he should hurriedly go for Sedina Tamaklo and take our stolen monies for us. The name of our country, Ghana, is being tarnished. Amino in Nsawam sent him that one. Let me go to Al-Hassan. It says that the OSP should have told us since when did they start investigating Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, and didn't the OSP know that they have lost power and those under investigation in the previous government can fly out of the country? What measures did the OSP put in place to prevent those fugitives of running away from from accountability? It should just do the needful and stop the lamentations and hold government officials and politicians to account for their stewardship. Now, don't forget that this investigation has been going on for the past 3 years. The OSP mentioned that. So, yeah, it didn't just come out like the way we're saying it. Good morning, KMJ and your panelist. I'm Big Alasko from Garu, Timpani. I think Ken Ofori-Atta knows that he has questions to answer, and those will put him in prison, and that's why he's running away. If he knows that he has done nothing wrong, why would he stay in the? Why wouldn't he stay in the country? I want to add that every politician should take good care of Ghana prison because they are all potential prisoners. Interesting. This one over here says, good morning. Honorable Vincent is not wrong to say such things about Ken Ofori-Atta when the over 100 NPP MPs petitioned his resignation because he was seriously ill, even to the extent of dying, and in which the country was in tatters. He rushed back to Ghana with an inflated face just to be around to prove to Ghanaians he was still fit to run his duties in office, isn't it? So what has changed now when we knew is even having a better health than before, and he's using his sickness as an excuse. So Ken must come back to justify himself. I repeat, Ken should carry his own cross. Abdulaziz Jimbani sent in that one. This one says, Lala, OSP will clear Ofori-Atta like he did to Cecilia Lapa. This is just a cover-up. OSP is set in motion to do the cover-up and clearing the agent work. Let me go to the next one over here. It says, Ernest from Alaji in Hamza Pig Farm. It says, good morning, my brother. I totally agree, and I stand by the OSP to hold Ken Ofori-Atta to to cough out all monies we lost in Cathedral saga. $58 million is not a joke. We need monies to take care of our children in various schools. As we speak, because of the Cathedral, the Ghana Passport Office is gone. National Scholarship Secretariat, 21 houses belonging to our judges and many valuable assets belonging to the state are all gone in the name of Cathedral. Are you aware? Even a stone for the foundation of the Cathedral was imported from Israel. Where did we go wrong as a nation? And I am surprised NPP and for that matter, the minority group in Parliament says we should not speak about it. This is for accountability and nothing else. Maybe I'll do the last one. There are lots of them, but maybe I'll do the last one. We'll move on. Good morning, KMJ. They failed and mismanaged our resources, which could have been used to resource our hospitals with equipment. Now they are sick and going out of the country looking for well-equipped hospitals. They should use our hospitals and stop running away from accountability in the name of hospitals. OSP has its powers. They should allow the person to work. He is a lawyer himself, and that's from John B. from Achim Tafu. Very well. Those are some of the messages you've sent to us this morning. A big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise, Stove Phones, Papa Pathie. They have made it possible for us to have a conversation this morning here on Newsflash. And I'm still letting you know that you can go for your phones from them. You can go for your CCTV cameras, your refrigerators. You can also buy your phone accessories if it's damaged and you want a new one. We're giving you a 40% discount for you to grab those accessories right now. Move to any of our branches out there and pick some for yourself. You can also call us. Numbers will be on the screens for you to do so. And please don't pick any numbers on social media for that purpose. Just pick the ones that you see on the screens. Honorable.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I think my uncle has...
He did a good job.
He has still not solved my problem for me. And he made a very pronounced statement, which I'm very happy with. The court of public opinion.
Yeah.
I've always said that. It's much stronger. But unfortunately, what I want to beg our state institutions, they should not always run to the court of public opinion. When you do that, you destroy an institution that would have helped all of us. OSP, the office of OSP is very young. Okay? The letter that my uncle read, okay, was dated on the 7th of February.
Yes.
7th of February. Today is 13th. So it's not even 1 week. If you listen to the OSP, he read only 2 communications between him and Ken. Only 1. That he wrote to Ken and they responded.
Yeah.
These are the 2 communications that we know per his press conference. Ken left this country on the 2nd, according to available information of January. Today, like I said, is 13th. It's just about a month and some few days. Is that not the case? A month and a few days. And I'm happy to also hear that he said this particular matter has been he's been working on it for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So all these 3 years, he's never found space anywhere to engage Ken. All the 3 years that he's been working on this matter.
We don't know.
No, that is what he said. He said he wants to speak to Ken personally. And you rightly made a point that if you were Ken, which I agree with you, we all cannot say the circumstances that Ken is now. I don't know. Maybe if you were Ken and you are in Ken's circumstances now, you may not be able to come.
But at this point, you will need a substantial evidence to be able to prove your accusation.
You see, I'm just talking about the period. It's a very short period for somebody to say that somebody is declared wanted. That's where I am coming from. Because from the 2nd to today, 13th, how many days are we talking about? It's not even like the person is in this country. You are fully aware the person is out of this country. And I like the OSP's letter, where he said that if Ken refuses to show up, he was going to use all legal means to enforce him.
Yeah.
He never said he was going to hold a press conference like this and declare him wanted. Did he do that? He never said that. Is it also part of the legal means he wants to use to get Ken back I'm not sure that was what he was referring to. Are you getting me? But the press conference alone, you've thrown this issue to the court of public opinion. You see, but you are a very noble institution. Anybody whose comments, my comment may be misconstrued, that I'm even supporting Ken. Anybody at all can say anything. Oh, they've chopped money and they are defending them. In any case, OSP is a state institution that has all the legal backing. And you could have gone through this particular process to the extent that, like you said, we are in a technological world today. We are in a technological. He can engage even outside this country. Did we hear anything like that? After the letter, the lawyers wrote, I tried doing this and tried doing this, phone call, and this man is not available. You see, for you to be declared wanted, they would have tried severally to get in touch with you. All means have failed. If they fail, then you can now be declared wanted. Where I said my uncle didn't help me is that he has not still told us whether the Office of the Special Prosecutor has the mandate to declare Ken wanted.
Yes, he has the mandate.
And I haven't seen that. About the word fugitive. No, the word he spoke. Right word to describe. He spoke in context of the law, and that can be done by the court of law, court of competent jurisdiction. The court can declare you wanted. OSP can secure this within the shortest possible time, if he thinks that Ken has to be declared wanted. But he, as an OSP, does the acts solely give him the opportunity or the authority to declare him wanted. That's where I said my uncle.
Let me try and answer. When the special prosecutor wants to question someone, does he not arrest the person first? He did that with Professor, what do you call it?
Is it from Kpandai?
From Kpandai.
Okay.
He arrested him first, before. Now, evading law enforcement.
How did he arrest you?
Exactly. When you
did he use a police?
No. When he invites
he went personally.
No.
You invite him.
No, when he invites you, he will tell you that you're under arrest.
Okay.
He did that.
And that's in his right.
Yes, it's in his right to do. And avoiding arrest, if a person intentionally evades or avoids arrest, they can be considered a fugitive.
Yes, but this person is not intentionally. Maybe let me just finish. You get a bite.
Honorable, just a minute.
Okay.
Just a minute.
That's fine.
The special prosecutor, based on the communication that he has got, is not convinced by the evidence in front of him. He's not convinced. The letters that have been sent, the interaction with his lawyers, what his lawyers have said, does not convince him that the situation Ken says he's in.
And I think
that is why
he said he couldn't put all the details out there because the evidence would be compromised.
Exactly.
So he couldn't put all the details out there.
That is why I am saying, after Ken has heard this press conference, for me, you should
OSP.
No, Ken. I'm sure Ken has heard this press conference.
You mean heard it?
Yeah.
After he's heard this press conference, he should quickly make contact with the OSP. Quickly. So that we don't come and sit here and try and fashion out what is and what isn't. Quickly. Clear it out of the way. And the same way that the OSP gave a press conference, you to find a way to tell the people that I have done what? Contacted the OSP. And I've had discussions with the OSP. Because that, what's the word that I'm looking for? That situation that we find ourselves in is now skewed more on Ken to do what? To show that he's willing to be questioned.
With the OSP.
He's willing to be questioned. Because right now, it looks as if he's run away. He doesn't want to come for questioning. So we've declared him a fugitive. And the
other side is he's not even sick.
He's not, exactly.
Which is...
And that is, the impression has been made that the letter you sent is generic, you are not sick, Come and clear it. Those who know him should quickly tell him, and if Ken is watching this program, please come and do something to show that you're willing and able to answer these questions.
Okay.
Okay, let me just...
I'll come to you. Let him land. He didn't finish it then.
Well, maybe if he wants to add
Yes.
something.
Well,
Let me
we are having a conversation.
Okay, that's fine.
I think it is in the interest of all of us, whether MPP or NDC.
Or CPP.
Or CPP.
I'm here. Because I'm here.
Sorry. See, I wanted to avoid all the others and all the political parties.
Because they are commenting.
It is in our interest that we have people who are willing to do the right thing. Unfortunately, we live in a country where sometimes when people take the bold initiative to do certain things, they are rather, singled out.
Castigated.
Yes, and castigated. So I commend the special prosecutor for these investigations that are ongoing. Having said that, I think it is important to also state that how these things are done are also very important, so we don't create the wrong impression, or people are arrogate to themselves powers that they don't have. He said he has signed a letter that declares Ken Ofori-Atta as a fugitive. And if you look at the act, at 959/2017, it says, according to...
Special Prosecutors Act.
Yes. So it gives you the powers of the special prosecutor. He has the power to, A, investigate and prosecute corruption and corruption-related offenses. Investigate and prosecute cases of alleged or suspected corruption or corruption-related cases. That's B. C, invite a person to appear before the special prosecutor for questioning. Seize and detain property and documents in connection with an investigation. Apply to the court for order to freeze and confiscate property. He doesn't even have the power to arrest. He needs to go through law enforcement for that to happen. I think that's important to place on record. January, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has not been around for all this while. I want to say that at this point, none of us sitting here can say with absolute degree of certainty that he is intentionally being upset, because we can only hazard a guess as to what his intentions are. And I pray that it is not his intention to, because it's been made very clear through the press conference that either he shows up or he will be fished out. These things could have been made directly to him instead of a press conference, in my opinion. Could have been made directly to him that, these are the powers we have, probably through some documentation.
Maybe it was.
Well,
I mean, because the special prosecutor has been dealing with his lawyers. I'm sure they must have communicated all this to them.
Okay. That is not what the press conference. You see, sometimes when you come to the public and you give us half information, it's also problematic. If you are not ready to tell us the full details, then you don't come. Are you getting me? Because per the communication that I saw him talk about, it's just this letter, and they're not accepting the letter. And he giving ultimatum that if he doesn't come, he was going to use all powers available to get him to come. And this is between a very short period. Are you getting me? And the question we are all interested in is declaring the man wanted. Does it lie in his authority to do that? Very important. Okay. Although, I
think we are trying to give us a certain.
But I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so, because even the special prosecutor himself said he will use all the legal avenue to get Ken back to come and answer. Is that not what he said? That's what he said. Okay, but to move straight away to declare the person wanted is problematic, and I think that the public opinion thing we are talking about is very strong. Our state institutions must be the last to always come out to the public and throw in issues that they are not very certain with. Because when you do that, we are all forced to feed on the information
you're given.
that you give us. It could be wrong, it could be right. Look, nobody is going into the substance of all the charges against, what's the name, Ken Ofori-Atta. Nobody is defending those things. We are not. But we are looking at the process. If today Ken comes out and the law, per whatever judgment comes out, and Ken is guilty of any of these offenses, we should all be happy. Are you getting what I'm saying? If he is not too, we should all be happy. But immediately you condemn the man before the legal actions, it becomes problematic. And that's why they say politicians are always scratching their backs. Today, if it ends up that Ken is not guilty of this offense, do you know what the public will do to us? That's what my uncle was also referring to. Because the court of public opinion is already informed about this case. So whether Ken comes and is guilty or is not guilty, even in Parliament, it was stated that he has run away. When they say you've run away, do you know what it means? They've already destroyed you.
Yeah.
Even if Ken comes today, the harm has already been caused. He has run away. Now he has come back. You see, that's why such matters, we need to tactically and legally do it in such a way that all those people who has misconducted themselves, the law must deal with them. People should not be seen as if because we are talking about this issue, we are defending Ken or we are not defending Ken. No. But the due process must be followed.
Okay. KMJ, let me just add before you come. Let me just add.
But let's do 1 minute each so that we move on to the next topic.
Let's be very mindful.
Yeah.
You know, in law, one is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Let's be careful not to make it look as if there's corruption. It should be alleged corruption. I haven't heard that. It looks as if everybody's saying he's being charged for corruption. Alleged corruption, because we haven't heard the side of the story. It hasn't gone to court yet for a court of competent jurisdiction to now say, based on the evidence before us, you are guilty of corruption. So let's be very mindful how we use these words.
Okay, very well. Thank you.
And I also want to caution, especially some of, our communicators, because I remember in the early 2000s, I've followed the US politics a lot, and there was some Democrat who was being accused of pretending to be sick and all that. And they had all sorts of people say all sorts of things on, what the Republicans call the liberal network, until the person died. And they had, I watched Fox News play all the clips that made it look as if the person was intentionally, invading law enforcement and say could he have intentionally died? I mean, so I think we have to be careful. It's only been a month. Let's commend the special prosecutor for him declaring that these are my next steps in case this is what you are trying to do. And let's commend him for the good work that he is doing so far. And, pray that he continues to have that energy and, that fire to pursue corruption wherever it comes from, but at the same time, let's also be careful because we are not aware of the current state of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta.
Very well. I think on that note, we'll move on to the next topic, which is the discovery of the 81,885 suspected ghost names.
That's a very important one.
National Service payroll. Now, this one happened, I think, shortly before we went to elections, and then this revelation actually came out, and it's the National Service Secretariat. So, I don't know if we have time to we have a quick note that, okay, so this is the details of it. The figure is 81,885, less than the 180,030 names that were presented by the previous management of the authority for allowance payment in 2024. Then again, can I move on to the next slide? Can you move on to the next slide for me? Now, the ghost names were actually detected following a head count of active National Service personnel at the behest of the Minister for Finance as a prerequisite for the clearance of allowance arrears dating back in August 2024. And the Ministry of Finance, upon the completion of the head count, actually realized an amount of 222,019,224 were covering allowance payment arrears for 98,145 actual National Service personnel. And then we had the figure, which is, I've actually explained that already, and then the next one over here. So the President Mahama actually tasked the new management of the authority to carry out emergent reforms with a view of establishing adequate controls to prevent the occurrence of a phenomenon like ghost names. Now, this is not the first time we're dealing with these ghost names, saga and all of that. But what happened at the NSS, if you follow conversation on social media, it's really terrible. But let's try and see how we can, digest this conversation as well. I'm tempted to still start with Mr. Honorable Matthew, but it's going to be looking like I'm the OSP.
No.
I'm on the OSP at this moment.
No, it's a conversation we are having.
But I'm usually doing so because it's
maybe
under your government, at the time. So maybe you can help us understand. This happened shortly before we went to election. So some people believe that it actually caused a lot of harm with regards to the performance of the NPP before the elections. Do you agree to that?
Well, I don't know much.
Because the figures were huge at that time.
This ghost names syndrome, it's been there until this Ghana card thing and trying to go digital has reduced some kind of people being paid and they are not in active service here and there. This is a charge that has been brought up. And you see, I'm not surprised because after every change of government, if you don't see some of these stories, then there's no change of government. I get what I'm saying.
So it's become a normal phenomenon?
Look, let NDC finish their term and let MPP come, or CPP comes. My uncle, that one, I hope
you can never tell. Nobody knew you go into opposition with that kind of mindset. So you can
maybe CPP comes. You'll see some of these stories. But what I am saying is this. Let them go ahead and do the auditing. If really it's true that some people are being paid and they don't exist, those who paid them, let the Lord deal with them. Okay, as I sit here, I'm disabled to say whether it's true or it's not true. Okay, it's a human institution. Since it's a human institution and people are there, they have good people, we have bad people. Maybe for all you know, if the auditing is done, it may turn out that even the magnitude or the total number of ghost names they are projecting, for all you know, it may not be. And for all you know, too, it's more than what they are saying. So I will support the auditing. Let them come out. Let them do thorough job. You see, they should not come out and speak just because we are doing politics. When you do it that way, you won't get what you want. And the little I will say is the auditing should be done because I cannot speak for or against it. It's a good start. If ghosts are being paid, obviously we should look for the ghosts. And it's difficult for you to find a ghost. So if you don't find the ghost, but for the person who paid the ghost, I'm sure that person
will be able to identify
the person. That's the little I will say about this topic.
Thank you very much.
Let me say,
I'm trying for us to finish so that we can maybe add the independence.
Let me say that, in 2014, these issues came up. And I remember watching one of the 3 stations, and there was somebody boiling, saying, "Hey, some man pa ono where wunu po when you come to so that's so funny. Anyway, I think that this is not the first time this has happened. But in 2014, we had a situation where these ghost name things, somebody blew the whistle. And I happened to be that time quite close to the source that got the information for the first time that this was going on. And I remember very well when the president was told, President Mahama was told, he was very furious and ordered immediately that everything should be done to ensure that, the justice is served. And under his leadership, law enforcement, you can use the word raided like they say raided, it's become a catchword in this country. Raided the home of, I think the man's name was Mohammed. He had a Muslim name, I don't remember the exact name. And found money that was stacked up in barrels, which was seized to, is it a BNI? I think so, yeah. And at that point, government started prosecuting, those who were involved. And as I speak to you now, they are in jail at the moment.
Okay.
See, it's important to make that point, that under the leadership of President Mahama, this thing occurred, but it was dealt with. We started the prosecution, I think, somewhere in the early days of the NPP administration. The case concluded, and it ended up with the culprits in jail. This is not the first time it has come out at National Service. There's some ghost name issues going on, It's come out maybe about 3-4 years ago where they said some number of people are being pushed in. Now, what is interesting is that somewhere in 2015, National Service approached NIA for a solution. So we put together a system. And that time, I remember very well that their problem was that they had people who would keep doing the registering and doing the National Service. It was creating a problem for them. So we put together a biometric system which would weed these people out and tell that, you've done it before and what have you. And when we got to the ghost name issue where people did not exist and they were being paid, I remember very well it was made very clear. And I made a paper to the Ministry of Finance at that time. That time, they had procured a biometric system themselves, which they were being used to validate. And it was made very clear that, look, the issue of ghost name is a time and attendance problem. You need to have within the institutions, and it's very easy if you have a solid biometric system like the NIA is now, to have a situation where people can validate their presence on a daily basis. But it wasn't heeded to. As I speak to you now, this particular problem, if you know how many systems are validating, the GIFME system, they are paid through the GIFME system. Yeah. Good. So it's not like there isn't any form of validation going on. But what do? They go to the public, the marketplace and what have you, and recruit people and say, we have an allowance of 200 cedis free of charge for you. Take it, and all you need to do is to show up and validate your presence. So they give the people 200, the service allowance is 700, and they pocket the rest of the money. They themselves have procured a biometric system, the National Service.
That's what you are alleging, or you are speaking on authority.
There are reports to that effect. I mean, some of these things, it's very easy for me to come across some of these, some of these reports. So what is happening is that then you have their own biometric system also being used to validate. Now they have even legalized the double National Service. They call it volunteers. And they pay them all the same, the allowance.
After your mandatory one?
Yes, after your mandatory one, you can...
Yes, you can apply for
You can apply for that. Yes. And from what I'm hearing, it looks like the consultant is now making it look as if, I warned them. Maybe the lawyer can tell us. If you know of crime going on and you just say, I advised them and they didn't take, does that exonerate you, especially the custodian of the system that is supposed to be checking that same crime? So I think that we need to look at this ghost name issue from a more, because it's not just national service. It's important to make that point. It's not just national service. Look, this thing could be going on because the issue of getting people to validate alone does not solve that problem. What's the percentage of the, I think we spend about 40% or so of the money on just paying,
Compensations.
on compensations alone, and a lot of it, not a lot, I mean, not too much of it, but a significant portion of it could just be paying some of these, as the guy would say, okay. So I think we need to look at it as a nation. Now that every state worker is having a Ghana card in his hand, the card itself is capable of match on card. It's very easy to have a very simple device with just a simple SIM card in it that will validate them on site and send the report on daily basis. When I was at NIA, I put a time and attendance system to make sure that people cannot come and write their name and go, or people cannot write other people's name. When I realized that a few people were taking advantage, I said, hey, I should take advantage of it. We increase the number of times that you need to. So now you have to check in, and then when you are leaving you need to validate. Yeah. You understand? So I think we need to look at it from that approach.
Okay, very well. Let me take your comment on that.
Nahu Kosam. Nahu Kosam.
Is the government?
Us, government? Because when you go to certain institutions and you see, especially the parastatals, and you see the number of staff there, you ask yourself, do we need all these people? And they who are there would even tell you that we are overstaffed. And I don't want to mention some of these parastatals. Who calls them? Politicians want to satisfy supporters. So what do? They push them through. And rightly, as Honorable said, that any government that comes, this problem is seen. Should we then not have a national dialogue on how we sort this together? Not as a party in power, but together, if we have seen such things. Because what is it? A lot of money is what? Going down the drain for work not done. Apart from that, they should even go further. Those in these institutions, ministries, who come and clock in and move, don't come in and do their work, and they sit and do absolutely nothing. Those people too should be looked at. Because your service there, you sitting here, you're providing a service, aren't you? To who?
Multimedia.
Multimedia. If multimedia feel your services are below par, what will they do?
You let it go.
They either let you go or they warn you.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, you're out. Does that happen in our public institutions? Does it happen in private companies? You cannot do that.
Yeah.
But above all, we need a situation where we make private sector attractive. For the private sector to absorb a lot of these jobs. Because at the present moment, private sector is not attractive. I'm with the AGI, and I know what's going on in terms of the private sector, where you have to go for loans from banks and your interest is skyrocketing, where the product you're doing, you're competing with imports coming in, where taxes and levies on some of these things, you as a private company, you can't even afford, where a situation where you have the cedi depreciating all the time. It's a challenge. So if we cannot straighten the economy such that the private sector can now take over a lot of these jobs, where are we going? The public sector can only hire a certain number of people. They said there are, 600,000 people?
Yeah.
That's what the public sector can. They can't go any further. Where's the money to pay them? And that is where sometimes corruption becomes rife. But, yes, we are not patriotic enough to say this is wrong. You're not patriotic enough to see if we see something happening. Whistleblowers Act is there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Where we can report and say, in this company, I work in this company, but the number of people who are being brought in, who are sitting doing absolutely nothing, but getting a salary at the end of the month is causing challenges for us. We're not patriotic enough to do that. But we've got to get to that stage, because in the end, it is from your pocket and my pocket that we are using to pay these people. So it's a national issue that needs to be discussed and solutions found towards it.
Very well. Let me read some of the messages and then we'll take leave. This one is Solomon Yantichi, and it says, although the commentary was not the best, it was unfair to imply that OSP is suddenly trying to prove that he is working. After all, we were all here when the OSP informed us that he had finished the investigation into the Airbus scandal and cleared Mahama just a few weeks before the major elections. I may disagree with this designation of the man as fugitive, but keep in mind that he stated that Ofori-Atta's first response to his summons was that he was out of the jurisdiction indefinitely, which is why OSP even was hesitant to include medical reasons. Okay. Let me go to the next one. This one over here is from John Atta Taliko, and he says that OSP shouldn't think that Ken Ofori-Atta is the first criminal gentleman in this country. He doesn't have the right to send military to search for Ken when he was around in this country. What happens to Kofi Woyome Cash, which was even more than this, the table would surely take one. But don't forget that the OSP has stated categorically that he has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with that raid. So let's be minded with that. Okay, that's Timothy Anabila says, good morning. The people's mandate holding leaders accountable through oral. The voice of the people is clear. When a regime is voted out, citizens demand accountability from the previous government. This sentiment is especially true in Ghana, where the current administration has been entrusted with a massive mandate to bring about change. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, popularity in the 2024 general election was largely fueled by their promise to implement Operation Recover or Loot Oral, a comprehensive program aimed at investigating corruption, recovering misappropriated state resources, and prosecuting offenders. The stakes are high, and the NDC must deliver on their promise to execute oral for the full satisfaction of all Ghanaians. So, yeah. Tetezuta says the ghost names thing came out before the election. So why is the NPP guy talking about these things happen when there's change of government? Okay, so that's the honorable that you're talking about, is then the NPP guy. So let's try and then, even mention them by their names, like the way you do with the lawyer and all that, mention my guest with their names. Honorable Matthew is here. No, he's not a guy. Clinton Nati Abaya says, good morning. The mistake you guys are making in the studio is Ken case is not a civil case, but a criminal case. So the OSP did nothing wrong. So he has decided to call all of them. Don't worry, I'll stop them. But what do you make of this, though? The criminal case as against the civil case, is making some part of that.
But I did say to you that the burden of proof in criminality is on the OSP.
Okay.
He needs to prove. The evidence should clear. It should be clear that yes, Ofori-Atta is guilty of corruption.
Okay. Musa Abato says it is both laughable and troubling that a micro-minority... You don't...
No, we are cool with it. Don't worry.
Oh, you're good with it?
We are cool with it.
Micro-minority...
For the public, you can talk about it. But where officially you want to talk about...
the House of Parliament.
Yeah, there is nothing like that. Because there is absolutely nothing like that. Those are innuendos. But if you take our standing orders, you have a majority side and a minority side.
Remember, if the shoe on the other foot, you would use it.
We didn't use it. At what time do you determine that you are super? I tell people that in the 7th Parliament, we were 169. They were 106. They were minority. We were majority. We were 61 more than them.
Yeah.
This is 180.
This one is...
So that's what I'm saying. At what point do I call you a super or a micro?
We could
have also used those terms for them.
Into the earth.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We could have.
100 MPs can decide not to come.
Even that.
And also,
if they were super, I asked them one question. If they see themselves as so super, why do they accept the 4 independent candidates?
Oh, they should have said, no.
We are super. Yes, we don't need you. It tells you that they still even need enough. Are you getting what I'm saying? Ablekumanov. It's still hanging. Why are they not leaving it? Exactly. It tells you that after the term, you can choose to use it outside, but officially, if you want to use it, we will not accept it.
Only 4 years.
Anyway, let me say a big thank you to you all for making time for me. Oh, we don't have time. Our time is very, very limited now. We have about just 2 minutes to go, but I need to do a few things. And also thank you for making time. But I'm sure maybe...
I'm bringing my bill.
Don't worry, we'll take care of that. But I'm sure next week the independence conversation will be on.
Yes.
So we might maybe something might just come up and we might just delve into it. But from all indications on social media, like lawyer would always say, court of public would always say that it's a good thing. So maybe we'll just all say...
The only thing I want to add to is that then we should advocate that when we elect president and we are swearing in president, it should be done in Parliament. Not at the Black Star Square.
I think I said this before.
Because Parliament is where swearing in must take place.
Yeah, I said this.
And that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Because anytime we elect president and we go to the Independence Square, Parliament is missing.
That's true. Anyway, that will be all for this morning. Esther Osei Kwame Griffiths joined me this morning. The lawyer Kwame Janto was here with me as well. And Honorable Matthew Nyindam also joined us this morning here.